grateful for our partnership with the Camaraderie Foundation, our honored guests representing our elected officials, and our spectators today. And thank you for sharing this opportunity and this journey with all of us. This impacts our community significantly, and we're excited to continue to grow many of these events and initiatives to be able to support our colleagues and people. So thank you all for being here, and I'll turn it over for, I guess, our pledge.
Mm-hmm. States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yay! Karen.
Good morning. My name is Karen Mayer. I'm with Congressman Gus Milarakis' office, and it's an honor to be here today with those of you who are really our heroes and served our country well. So Gus does bring his greetings, and as a side note, I worked with his father years ago, Congressman Mike Milarakis, and I saw him earlier this week, and he sends his greetings as well. So as we've been approaching today, I really tried to hear stories from other veterans who have suffered with PTSD and to hear their stories. And one of the things that really struck me was that each one of them really talked about the stigma and trying to get treatment. And so we really need to try to overcome that, and it's always going to be a battle. But the good news is that with Awareness Day, June 27th, that we are making some progress there. And it was really their stories of when they actually did reach out and get help, that they actually did start to make progress and see some victories. So we encourage that, and we want you to know you have the gift of life and to really take that on. The Congressman spent the better part of the past decade really trying to remove that stigma and to find ways that we can overcome and help give the treatment. One of the things that is passionate, of course, is PTSD, but also especially in the veterans community. It's a very special place in his heart and his passion. So in 2017, there's a study that shows that veterans diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder was around 12.9%, and it's a staggering high number compared to the rest of the population, which I believe is down around 6.8%. Because of the nature of, and many veterans sitting to my right and sitting out here with us today, it's the nature of what you went through and the things that you experienced that puts you in a higher risk rate of having to deal with PTSD. The good news, though, again, like I said, is that with Awareness Day, we are starting to see somewhat of a decrease. But we can do better, and because of programs like the Camaraderie Foundation and the SOF Mission and many others, we are starting to really see that there are areas that you can go to and missions that you can go to and foundations to get that treatment. I would like to discuss with you today two very significant pieces of legislation that the Congressman has passed over the past few years, the Cover Act and the Promise Act. So both have fundamentally changed the way that we are treating mental health issues. First, the Cover Act has paved the way to give the VA methods and alternative methods and complementary treatments to help veterans that are struggling with PTSD. And one of those ways, which I do see one of our service animals here, but the Cover Commission, they actually helped create ways that we can identify treatments. And one of them is to allow service animal therapy, yoga, accelerated resolution therapy, hyperbaric oxygen chamber treatments, acupuncture, and those are just a few. But we're trying to get away than just prescribing opioids and traditional talk therapy and take an all-encompassing way to help veterans deal with PTSD. The Promise Act requires physicians to utilize the best practices for opioid prescribing and puts a lot more restriction and liability on them to oversee that. So these are two steps that are heading us in the right direction. Another thing I just want to mention is the suicide rate, because PTSD, as we know, leads to a lot of high number of suicide rate. And I was just speaking with one lady earlier today whose son is struggling with PTSD, getting treatment, but a number of his friends that served with him in the Iraq War have committed suicide over the years. And so we really need to address that. Fortunately, again, with Awareness Day, we start to see somewhat of a decline. And the good news is I believe that we've gone down from in 2012, 2,850 homeless veterans, and now I think we're like around 130 in this Tampa Bay area. But the numbers also, as far as suicide, I think are starting to decrease from a very high 87% in the past decade to around 70%. But we need to be doing more. The Congressman is going to continue fighting, continue to try to pass new legislation. There was a bill that's kind of on hold right now, passed in 2020, the end of 2020, but still waiting to get to that next step to become law. So I just want to assure you that Congress is continuing to work for you, but what I want to do today in my closing is just remind you, whether you're a veteran or a family member, is to ask for help and recognize the gift of life that you have, and know that you deserve to have a fulfilled life of joy, and take advantage of the different groups that are here represented on the stage today and through the Camaraderie Foundation. So with that, we do thank you for your service and wish you the best. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Elbert Williams. I'm the President and CEO of the Veterans Council of Veterans. And first, I want to thank Camaraderie Foundation for actually inviting me to speak on a topic that's really close to Veterans Council of Veterans. And I'm also excited to be amongst people who we have the same mission in common, and that's to take care of veterans' families. We don't really care about the politics, as much as the fact that we want to take care of our veterans and their families. And that's why I'm excited to be here. I also want to thank St. Pete College for hosting this event, because that's important as well. Community must be a part of this to be successful. Now, some of you say, well, what does Veterans Council of Veterans do? Well, Veterans Council of Veterans is actually a peer-led organization that is led by military veterans and spousal veterans in the mental health profession. We feel that if we're not part of the solution, then how can we really expect others to be part of the solution? And so also always say that we walk in your boots. So that's what we do. One of the things we do, before that we focus on the Veterans Council of Veterans. One of them is suicide prevention, which is a real big thing for us. Suicide prevention, that the staff has mentioned. Military sexual trauma, families need counseling as well, and then diversity, equity, and inclusion. One thing I love about when we do stuff like this, that it's no longer about race, gender, it's not divisive, it's actually something that brings us together. When it comes to taking care of veterans and PTSD, it really doesn't matter. It's all about us covering down on our wounded brothers and sisters. So that's something why I'm excited about that. This is about coming together. Now, I was asked to talk about PTSD, and I will, but it's going to be a different angle. Myself, I served 24 years in the Army. My dad served 20 years in the Army. Family is absolutely important to me. They're part of the system. You really can't talk about taking care of veterans suicide or taking care of veterans PTSD without also taking care of the family. Because at the end of the day, they still got to go back to that family. And it's a family that's in the first line when that veteran starts experiencing some of the symptoms of PTSD. When they start having anger problems, guess who's the one that's first to get the anger? When they start isolating, when they start having hypervigilance, guess who's the one that's got to take that? And then they got to understand that, and they got kids. So it's interesting, if you've been in the military, you know that one thing our military does, they take care of the entire family. Everybody gets an ID card, everybody gets services and everything. But when you leave the military, it all goes away. And my thought is, if you got a service-connected mental disorder, then you need to take care of families too. Because if it wasn't for that social disorder, they wouldn't have to deal with stuff like that. They would not be having a caregiver. They would not sit there and shield their families and have it all of a sudden have a generation. And so that's what I have to do out there, the community, is that it's going to take the whole entire community, not just one organization. It's not going to take just Veterans Council Veteran. It's not going to just take SOF Missions, my brother, mother. It's not going to take somebody. It's going to take us and the entire community. One thing I want to, so numbers you haven't heard, but you're going to hear from me. We know that Pinellas County has over 100,000 veterans. But did you know that 70% of veterans have some kind of family? So I'm talking about divorce, married, or single parent. 70. Then 20% of the women are veterans in Pinellas. And if you go from the demographics, 20% Hispanic, 18% African American. So almost 30%. So my point I'm making is that we gotta start focusing on that family of that veteran as well. They have a family. And we gotta sit there and have the same services they had when they're on active duty, should be the same service they have when they get back home. Because only naturally. That veteran didn't get the PTSD or the depression or anything like that, and that family can deal with that. And it's going to have generational sickness. So I'm asking you guys out there, it's going to take the entire community. I'm asking you guys to help us out and try to advocate for that and also create services for that. Finally, at the end, as you mentioned earlier, there is a relationship between PTSD and suicide. Mm-hmm. And so, what's interesting is that the women veterans have twice the rate of suicide than non-women veterans, and the primary reason is military sexual trauma. So when you look at the suicides, it stems from MST, which is PTSD. MST is not a disorder; it's just something that's specifically for the military. So what you really want to find out is not PTSD. But guess what? Almost all women who have PTSD die from military sexual trauma. So we got to do something about that. We got to sit there and take care of our women veterans and men. Men also experience MST. The difference is that there are percentage-wise it's women, but numbers-wise it's men. So it's kind of crazy, but we got to do something about that military sexual trauma. What I'm doing for my part, and I want to thank St. Pete College. Every year I have a conference. It's called the Veterans and Family Suicide Prevention Summit. This is my third year annual event, and it's called Faith, Veteran, Family, and Community. And I picked those four because you need those four if you really want to be serious about stopping suicide. Faith, I don't care if it's God, Buddha, whatever, but faith plays a big part because you have to believe in a higher power if you really want to sit there and put a thing in that person and try to decide if I want to live, if I want to die. Well, the higher power takes care of it. So whatever that's got to be part of the conversation. The family part of the conversation because they're a system, and the family will be the first one that's going to notice what's going on with that veteran. So who do they go to? And then community. It takes the entire community, not just one. It's not just mental illness. It's a social determinant as well. So I'm having an event on September 18th, and it's being hosted by, when I say hosted, St. Pete College is going to host the event. So it'll be St. Pete College, September 18th from 9 to 3. Obviously look for sponsors and donors to make sure it's a great event. It's free for veterans and their families. So I hope I see you on September 18th at one of these campuses. So thank you very much, Camaraderie, for inviting me and having me speak on this very important event of PTSD awareness. Next, I'll be followed by my brother for another mother, David Freeman.
Woo-hoo!
First of all, I just want to start off by simply saying thank you very much for the Camaraderie Foundation for inviting me here. Anna, congratulations on your well-deserved promotion. Definitely a stellar move, sir, Mr. Rodriguez. And Ms. Mayor, thank you so much for what Congressman Gus Barakis and his entire team is doing to save lives. It's definitely recognized within our community, and we applaud his efforts. And my brother from another mother, it's true, wherever we go, they get us confused because we look alike. Veterans Council and Veterans. I'm going to tell you right now that Tony, he is a man of action. He doesn't just create awareness, but he's actively engaged every single day, and it's not just focused on the veterans, but their families too. So for all of the great work, please, just a round of applause for our my name is David Freeman. I served 20 years in the U.S. military, first 5.5 years, I was a Marine. My last unit was 2nd Force Recon. I got recruited into Air Force Special Warfare, and I spent the last 15 years in Special Operations. You know, when I first joined the military back in 2000, I had no idea what my experience was going to be. I don't know if any of you were around, you young ladies over there, if you were around during 9/11, and I know that some of us older cats and dogs here remember where we were when we were attacked 20 years ago, this September 11th. And we were deployed. And I remember in 2003, as a Marine, part of the invasion going in through South Lawn, I remember the first time I was involved in killing. I'm telling you right now that it doesn't matter what kind of training you go through, there's something that happens when you're involved in combat. And, you know, I remember coming back from 2003, and it was the first time I couldn't sleep. And I was having nightmares, and I was recalling and that first death. And you deploy again, and then you deploy again. You go to Iraq, you go to Iraq, you go to Afghanistan, you go to Afghanistan, multiple combat deployments. And something happens to you. It's not normal to be deployed for 6 months. I don't care if you're a special operator or you're a communicator or a supply or it doesn't matter. You know, for 6 months you're in a hostile environment. You don't know if a suicide bomber is going to get through the front gate and come into the BX when you're just trying to buy some food or some toilet paper and then you get blown up. You know, there are times when you can't even talk to your family. I know that 2010 was my culminating point. I was in Afghanistan, and I flew in with General Christopher, commander of one of those forces, to shut down the struggle. It's a famous place. If you've never had an opportunity to watch the Sundance Film Festival or struggle, watch it because, you know, war is hell. And I just remember that moment. It was, we were surrounded by a couple hundred Taliban. It was a 7-day engagement, 3 days particularly, 72 hours of, bombing our way out, gunning our way out, running out of bullets, running out of bombs, running all that stuff. And I remember that was the first time I didn't think I was going to make it. And I remember praying. And faith does play a role in these situations. And somehow, some way, 2 special forces teams that I was attached to, we were extracted out of being home. I had experienced mild traumatic brain injury. I had a lot of injuries as well. I was actually physically injured, but that's not even really, I had surgery and I was in the hospital, but that's not really my main injury. It was all the concussions. I woke up one day and I didn't understand what was going on. Back in 2010, our community didn't understand truly how dangerous MTBIs and PTSD were playing a role with our servicemen and women. I was dealing with anxiety, depression, sensitivity to light. I was not sleeping. I became insomniac. And I got to a point where, I started questioning whether or not life was worth living. And it was a really serious situation. And because I was in special operations, a multi-million-dollar weapon, there were a lot of really great people that came around, psychologists, social workers, chiropractors, physical therapists, spiritual mentors, pastors, a lot of really great people. And after a year and a half worth of care, I found hope. I woke up one day and I didn't think about killing myself. And a lot of my problems, the new signature of the war, entry of the war is concussions. And I realized that one day, in a 1-month stint, 4 of our people committed suicide. 2 of them by handgun, 1 took opiates and killed himself out on the beach, and another one drove himself off the hill on a motorcycle. And that was the day that said, 7.8 billion people in the whole world, and I was uniquely made for a purpose. And it wasn't just a gunslinger, shoot bad guys. I thought to myself, what would life be if I could be involved in solving this problem? 20 veterans taking their lives every single day. And we should do a better job taking care of our troops. And like I said, I don't care what you did. If you started that bottom line and you took that oath and you raised up your right hand, you deserve all the care, all of it. And you don't have to lead special operations. And that was the birth of our organization, SOS Missions. I'm going to tell you right now, I've gone through a lot of therapy. I mean, everything under the sun. And it was a systematic approach that solved the problem. Psychological, physical, social, and spiritual. And so our organization, SOS Missions, does that today. We have medical clinics called New Brazilian Clinics that are here in Tampa at Sacramento Resort. And we bring in these warriors that have gone through hell and back. And we have a ton of healthcare providers. And we solve this problem through the intensive clinics up there in Sacramento. And I'm proud to say that we also are the only program that we know of in America where we take the systematic approach and have all female veteran clinics. You know why? Because of the silent minority. And rarely do they get that level of care that a lot of men do. So with that being said, I'm passionate about what we're doing. We're solving problems. We served over 2,500, almost 3,000 veterans within the last year and a half. We've got 0 suicides. And I'm telling you, just like what Tony told you, you've got to take a whole health approach because you don't know where the trauma is. Is it in the psychological domain? Is it in the social domain? Is it in the physical domain? Is it in the cognitive domain? Is it in the spiritual domain? Because a treatment and modality in the psychological domain of this trauma does not solve the problem if it's in the cognitive or physical or spiritual domain. And so you have to take a whole health approach, and that's what we do today. I'm really honored to partner with the Camaraderie Foundation. I'm very honored to be partnering with Veterans Council of Veterans. I'm very honored that our congressional leaders have recognized our efforts because our men and women who served deserve it. Thank you very much.
These are some tough people trying to follow behind. I'm Neff Rodriguez. I'm the CEO of Camaraderie Foundation. I'm also a veteran. I served 33 years in the Army. I've served during Vietnam, Desert Storm, Panama, Grenada, Iraq, Afghanistan, so every engagement from Vietnam all the way through today, I've been with all of them. So I've seen the impact on the soldiers, families, and it is truly a hard impact on families. I'd like to do a little experiment here. How many of you have had a happy memory from a smell, a song that came on the radio, or even a dream of a loved one who passed away? Anybody here ever had that happen? Where you've had that experience, just a smell, or back Christmas or something? You have just experienced exactly what PTSD does to a veteran, except on the flip side. A sight, a sound, a dream, but it's terror. It's fear. It's something that's happened to them in a terrible way, and it brings that back home. Some people ask a veteran, when was the last time you were in combat? And for some veterans, it's every night, because they can't get it out of their head. And it doesn't have to be the dream of the combat itself. It's being back in that environment. I've even found myself now having dreams at night that I'm back in Afghanistan, doing some of the things that are just typical things that I always did, which is a regular day, but I'm back in Afghanistan. Or I get a smell, or a sight, or a sound that brings back those memories. And so that is what our veterans are going through. And they're struggling on how to deal with it. Guys like us, we don't like to admit we need help. We don't want to tell people that we need help. We're big, strong Army guys. And the last thing we want to tell our family and our wives and our children is that we're weak, that we need help. But I'm here to tell you that we do, and we need to be able to reach out to them. That is why I fell in love with Camaraderie Foundation and wanted to be the CEO there when I saw the job opening. Because I drifted around after spending 33 years in the Army. I was like, what do I want to be when I grow up? I don't know now. I mean, I had no clue. I didn't know what to do. And I saw the job offering, and I knew that that was where I needed to be, was right here in this position. Because I could still stay in touch with my soldiers. I could still stay in touch and make a difference, and I could save one life, I would be happy. You know, as we talked about a while ago, 22 a day, 20 a day, whatever the number is, I would tell you that 1 a day is too many. These guys and gals have gone and done everything we've asked them to do. And again, as we said earlier, when they come home, we deserve to take care of them. They need that. They deserve that. You know, when they're over there overseas, we'll send a care package of cookies and crackers and all kinds of stuff, a care package. And then as soon as they come home, guess what? That stops. Well, now is when they need the care package. Not over there. You know, they need it now. They're back here. You know, we have programs for homelessness. We have programs for all these things. But if you don't fix here and here first, you can put them in a home all you want. They're not going to stay. You can give them a job all you want. They're not going to keep it. You know? So you've got to fix the heart and you've got to fix the mind. And that's what I love about Camaraderie Foundation. We have a 3-pillar approach. We do the counseling, the mental health, family counseling, because it is an entire family issue, not just the veteran. It's a family issue. We also have transitioning for work to get veterans back in with spouses, back into a job, but maybe they just want to change jobs. Maybe they're like me, they don't know what they want to be when they grow up. And so we help them with that. And then our third one is the family pillar, which is family support, family fun days, activities. We'll come to the Clearwater Aquarium and take the family for an entire day. We'll go to SeaWorld and take them to there. We'll go to the beach, we'll have picnics, to bring them back together, because when you're in the military, you're at the base and the families are real tight groups, because the guys deploy, the women and the children stay behind, and they pull together and they stay together. And you'll have barbecues together. When you get out of the military and you go back to Orlando or to Tampa, the guy in apartment 3C could really care less what you're doing this weekend, or if your wife is having a bad day, the car broke down and you're out of town. And so you lose that camaraderie, which I love the name, camaraderie, because that's exactly what we do. So we bring that back together. So we bring the 3 pillars to tie in the entire process, which is what everyone's been alluding to. So we do that, and we don't care about the character of discharge. You can have a bad conduct discharge, a dishonorable discharge. We don't care. Because if some of these organizations and some of the federal facilities, if you have a bad conduct or dishonorable, you can't get treatment because you're not considered a veteran. We don't care about that. Because what we're finding out now is that a lot of these young men and young women are getting bad conduct and dishonorable discharges, put out in the military, and then a year down the line we find out that there was an underlying, undiagnosed PTSD issue that caused them to do the behavior that got them put out. Now they can't get treatment. And that's a sad, sad statement. So we don't care, we do it. We pay for the entire process. There's not a dime that the veterans pay for or the family members pay for. So we do that with the community's help and through doing lectures like this and talking and making awareness. And God bless you for being here today, because you care, and that's what it takes. It takes people caring. And so I'd like to thank you for being here today. I know it's your time. I know we've utilized a lot of it. But thank you so very much for being here and for supporting us. And most importantly, for supporting our veterans and their families. Because with you, we're saving lives, saving families. Thank you.